The spring wind was crisp and clean over the manicured fairways of the Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, New Jersey. At 17, Madison Trump had already made a name for herself as a top junior golfer, her powerful drives and precision putts earning her respect not only on the circuit but also in the national press. Being the eldest grandchild of the current U.S. president only heightened the public gaze. A double-edged sword Kai had learned to wield with grace. It was a Tuesday afternoon when it began. Kai had just finished her practice round, a 4-under par finish that had her in high spirits, when she noticed something strange. She was loading her clubs into the trunk of her sleek black Range Rover, custom-plated KAIT, with a small red, white, and blue Trump 2024 sticker, when she felt eyes. Not the regular stares of media drones or fans trying to catch a glimpse. This was something else. Heavy, probing, predatory. She scanned the tree line near the outer fence of the club, where thick oaks and maples shadowed the landscape. Just beyond the 4th tee, nestled between 2 trees, a flicker of movement caught her eye. A man, tall, hooded, sunglasses glinting even in the shade, stood unervingly still, watching. Kai froze, gripped the edge of the trunk, and stared back. The man didn't move. Her Secret Service detail, which normally kept a polite distance during her practice, wasn't in sight. They were escorting her brother Donald III to the clubhouse moments earlier. She was technically alone. But before she could reach for her phone or even call out, the man slipped back into the woods. Gone. The next hour passed in a blur. Her father, Donald Trump Jr., had her on the phone in seconds once she reported the sighting. "We're beefing up your security. You don't leave that club without 4 agents from now on," he barked, voice choked with urgency. By sundown, the club's perimeter was crawling with Secret Service agents and private security contractors. Drones were deployed, cameras reviewed, but nothing turned up. No prints, no signs, no trace. "Could be a nutjob fan," suggested one agent. "Or maybe someone testing our response." Kai didn't sleep that night. The next day, the press had caught wind of a security alert involving a Trump family member. Though the name wasn't confirmed, Twitter and Reddit erupted with speculation. But Kai knew it wasn't over. That evening, while reviewing her swing videos in her bedroom suite at the Bedminster estate, her phone buzzed. An airdropped image. Unknown sender. It was a still from behind the trees. A grainy zoom of her standing on the green, club in hand, with the caption typed over, "Nice shot, Kai. Do you always play alone?" Her blood ran cold. Her phone dropped to the floor. She backed away from the device as if it might explode. The stalker wasn't just watching, he was close. Too close. He was toying with her. Kai's protective detail was instantly alerted, and cyber forensics began tracing the airdrop. But the message was sent through an anonymous, proximate device, likely dumped and untraceable. It wasn't just creepy. It was sophisticated. President Trump was briefed. Homeland Security was called in. The story, still behind closed doors, was escalating at the highest levels. What Kai didn't know, what no one in the family knew, was that this stalker wasn't new. He had been following her for weeks, and his next move would stun a nation. The Trump family compound at Bedminster transformed overnight into a virtual fortress. Military-grade surveillance drones buzzed above the property, and snipers in tactical gear watched silently from rooftops. Kai wasn't just a competitive golfer anymore. She was now the center of a federal investigation. Despite the storm swirling around her, Kai tried to keep her composure. She'd grown up in the spotlight, coached by her mother Vanessa to remain poised, by her father Donald Jr. to stay tough, and by her grandfather to never, ever show fear. But that image on her phone haunted her. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw it. A silent predator hiding in the trees, photographing her life. On Friday, the family gathered in a secure meeting room at Bedminster with federal agents, cyber intelligence experts, and a grim-faced Donald Trump Sr. at the head of the table. "This isn't just about Kai anymore," the president declared. "This is a threat against our family, and possibly against the office of the presidency." The Secret Service had uncovered something disturbing. Similar airdropped images had been sent to an old assistant of Vanessa's. Photos of Kai leaving school, jogging alone in Central Park, even asleep on a plane. Someone had been tracking her patterns for weeks, possibly months, undetected. Worse yet, there was now a name, or at least a digital alias, Spectre 17. He used scrambled IPs, burner phones, and constantly changing digital IDs. Whoever he wasn't your average creep. This was someone trained, calculating, and with access to highly sensitive information. Former intel, perhaps, or worse, rogue intelligence. The media, meanwhile, began to circle like vultures. Though federal authorities kept the investigation classified, someone leaked to the press that a high-level federal threat assessment was underway involving a member of the Trump family. CNN speculated it might be Donald III or even Ivanka. But conservative outlets like OANN and the Daily Caller weren't as cautious. They named Kai. And just like that, Kai Trump's face was everywhere. The image used most frequently, a photo of her swinging a 9-iron on the course, red, white, and blue ponytail bobbing midair, became an icon overnight. Targeted. First granddaughter's life in jeopardy, read one headline. Secret Service caught off guard, screamed another. TikTok flooded with theories. Instagram fan pages turned into digital watchtowers. But the one place Kai felt safe, the golf course, was now her greatest vulnerability. That weekend, determined not to be bullied out of her passion, she returned to the green, under the guard of 6 agents. The sun was low as she lined up for a long iron shot. She inhaled, exhaled, then swung that a loud crack echoed, not from her club, from the trees. Everyone froze. Kai instinctively dropped to the grass as agents drew weapons. A second crack followed, not a gunshot, but the unmistakable sound of a droning buzz. An unauthorized drone. Within seconds, the agents spotted it. A black commercial quadcopter flying low over the trees, camera pointed directly at Kai. 2 of the guards fired signal jammers, but the drone vanished over the far ridge before it could be intercepted. Back at the command center, tech teams reviewed footage from the Trump national surveillance system. One image stood out. A man in a navy hoodie, standing outside the fence line near hole 6. His face was obscured, but he held a large remote controller. He wasn't running. He wanted to be seen. That night, Kai received another message, this time mailed directly to the estate. No postage. Hand-delivered. Inside the envelope, a Polaroid photo of Kai lining up her swing earlier that day. Written across the bottom, "You can't hide behind walls forever." By Monday, the situation had gone from alarming to unthinkable. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security officially joined the investigation, and President Trump, now addressing the situation in private security briefings, labeled it a national-level stalking event. For the first time, the Secret Service applied a temporary Code Amber protocol to a non-executive family member. Kai could no longer travel without a full tactical team, armored SUV convoy, and digital surveillance unit assigned to her 24/7. Despite all the attention, Kai was determined to maintain some semblance of normalcy. When her longtime coach, Marissa Klein, invited her to the private Tuxedo Ridge Golf Resort for a closed-door training session and media-free afternoon, Kai hesitated at first, then agreed. It would be just the 2 of them and security, away from the usual crowd and press vultures. What Kai didn't know was that Spectre 17 had already intercepted the plan. The morning was cloudy when they arrived. Kai rode in an armored SUV flanked by 4 tactical vehicles, and a drone unit hovered discreetly overhead. Still, there was a strange stillness in the air. The club was closed for maintenance, but Kai couldn't shake the sense that something felt off. She warmed up at the range while Marissa laid out a strategy for swing improvement. But then, Kai noticed something. A white golf cart parked near the edge of the woods, far from where anyone should be. "Whose cart is that?" she asked one of the agents. "No one on staff's driving it," he replied, checking his comms. Seconds later, a low beep emitted from Kai's security earpiece. A Secret Service tech whispered sharply, "We've lost contact with Drone 2. It's been taken offline." The wind seemed to hold its breath. Then movement. A figure dashed from the edge of the woods toward the cart. Agents moved to intercept, but the person turned and sprinted in the opposite direction, toward the far fence line. He was fast, trained, and he was holding something, a small case in one hand, a phone in the other. 2 agents tackled him mid-sprint. Within moments, the man was cuffed and screaming incoherently. "You don't know what you're protecting," he roared. The truth. It's in the footage. He's not who you think he is. Kai stood stunned as the man was dragged off, kicking and laughing, sweat pouring from his face. But it wasn't Spectre 17 that fingerprints, facial ID, and digital trails identified the suspect as Dean Albrecht, a conspiracy theorist who'd been arrested multiple times for harassment outside political rallies. A lone wolf, obsessed with the Trump family, and convinced they were hiding alien technology and cloning programs. A delusional extremist. Kai felt a chill. If Dean wasn't Spectre 17, then who was? And then the other shoe dropped. While agents swept the man's belongings, they found a burner phone, not his, tucked inside the stolen golf cart. It had been planted. The data revealed that the drone footage of Kai was remotely uploaded to a private server just hours before the encounter. The authorities had walked into a decoy trap. Spectre 17 wanted Dean caught. He wanted them distracted. Because while the entire operation had zeroed in on Tuxedo Ridge, he was somewhere else entirely. That evening, back at Bedminster, another message arrived. No envelope this time. No courier. Just a single golf ball placed in the center of Kai's private putting green. On it, a message etched in black ink. Nice try. I was never there. But I was close. Surveillance footage showed nothing. Not a single intrusion. Yet someone had made it onto the Trump estate, past Secret Service, and left a personalized threat without being detected. A line had been crossed. No one was safe now. The incident at Tuxedo Ridge changed everything. President Trump summoned a personal meeting with the heads of the FBI, NSA, and the Secret Service inside the Oval Office. This is no longer a family issue, he declared grimly. This is war. Psychological. Tactical. Political. And it's aimed at me through my granddaughter. But the real shift came when Kai, now emboldened and furious, decided she wasn't going to be a passive target anymore. I'm not going to sit in a mansion surrounded by men with guns while someone out there plays chess with my life, she told her mother Vanessa, whose face had aged 10 years in a week. If this guy wants to play games, then let's play. With the support of a hand-picked digital task force assembled by Baron Trump, now studying cybersecurity at NYU and consulting with U.S. cyber defense teams, Kai initiated a covert plan of her own. She wasn't just going to run or hide. She would bait the stalker. Using social media posts, Kai created a false schedule. A fake appearance at a youth golf clinic in Long Island. Carefully staged photos. Timed GPS leaks. Everything was designed to lure Spectre 17 into a trap while federal agents tracked the data flows, and it worked. 3 hours after the fake event was posted, an encrypted ping hit the same private server Spectre 17 had used before. It originated from somewhere completely unexpected, Georgetown University. A low-level tech support worker had accessed the secure academic network using administrator credentials. His name was Caleb Morris, 27 years old, no criminal record, and barely noticeable on paper, but when agents stormed the dorm-like apartment he lived in off-campus, they found a war room, dozens of screens, surveillance drones in pieces, hard drives, a wall covered in photos, nearly all of Kai. Some were recent, others clearly taken from hundreds of yards away using high-powered lenses. She was at home, on courses, in private family moments, even one image of her sleeping on her grandfather's couch in the Mar-a-Lago library. This man had been tracking her life for 2 years, but Caleb wasn't there. Instead, he left a message. Scrawled on a whiteboard in red ink, the real virus isn't digital. It's legacy. You protect her like a queen, but what if the pawn bites back? A second bombshell arrived minutes later. Kai's personal phone lit up, a live stream link. She opened it in front of agents. The video showed the inside of her personal bedroom at Bedminster. Right then. In real time, I'm close, a voice said calmly from off-screen. And I've been closer than you think. Panic erupted, security raced to her room, swept it. No intruder. But they did find a tiny, button-sized spy cam embedded inside one of her golf trophies, a replica U.S. Junior Cup she'd won last summer. The camera had been active for months. More disturbing than how it got there was when it had arrived. Kai's trophies were stored in a sealed display case in a wing of the estate restricted to family and cleared staff. That meant Spectre 17 had inside access or inside help. As federal investigators scrambled to unearth leads, Kai sat in silence, the horror sinking in. I thought this was some unstable hacker, some obsessed fan, she muttered. But this is different. Baron leaned forward, adjusting his glasses. It's not about obsession anymore. He's not just stalking you. Kai looked up. He's proving he can get to you. That he's smarter than everyone guarding you. They were no longer just trying to catch a stalker. They were trying to stop a ghost. The morning of the Trump Women's Leadership Summit dawned clear and cool in Charleston, South Carolina. Despite the mounting threats, President Trump insisted the event move forward, a massive rally-like gathering celebrating influential women in the Trump family, with Kai set to deliver her first national address. Her speech was to focus on youth, discipline, and how sports can protect America's youth from ideological rot. Kai had worked tirelessly on it. And now, in front of nearly 15,000 live attendees and millions streaming, she would step into the spotlight. She looked composed as she took the stage. Her dress was sleek and conservative, but her eyes carried steel. What the audience didn't know was that every Secret Service agent in the region was on code red. After the last encounter in her Bedminster bedroom, Spectre 17 had gone dark. No messages. No new threats. Not even a digital breadcrumb. That worried the agents the most. Silence meant planning point 2 miles from the venue in an abandoned theater rigged with hacking equipment. Caleb Morris, the man suspected of being Spectre 17, sat with a Bluetooth earpiece and 6 monitors glowing in front of him. Except, he wasn't alone. A second man entered the room. "Everything's in place," he said quietly. "Cameras are on her. And you're ready." Morris nodded, his eyes glued to the screens. "Today is not about hurting her," he said. "It's about waking up the country." The plan was already in motion. Back at the venue, as Kai delivered her line about courage being measured not in comfort but in confrontation, the stadium screens behind her flickered just for a second. No one noticed at first. But then it happened again. A fast glitch. Then static. Then a grainy image burst onto the jumbotron behind Kai. It was her, sitting in her bedroom, stretching after a golf match, hugging her younger brother. A rapid-fire reel of private moments played across the screen while the crowd gasped. And then the voice came through. "You think she's protected. You think your cameras and fences will keep her safe. But I've been closer to her than you could imagine, and she never even knew." A collective gasp rippled across the crowd. Secret Service scrambled. Kai froze, the screen cut to black, then just silence, until, boom, a concussive flash erupted near the back of the arena, not lethal, but enough to trigger chaos. People screamed and ran. President Trump, watching from a secure booth, was immediately escorted out, but Kai didn't run. She stood at the podium, gripping the edge like an anchor in a hurricane. Seconds later, 2 agents tackled her. The room was evacuated. In the chaos, security drones finally triangulated the origin of the video stream, and the last ping came not from Charleston, but from inside the abandoned theater. Agents stormed the location within 10 minutes. Morris was still there. Calm. Hands in the air. He didn't resist. He smiled. "You finally came," he said. What agents found was shocking: a manifesto stored on dozens of hard drives. Videos, maps, psychological analyses of Secret Service routines. But most disturbing of all, a folder titled "The Fall of Legacy." In it were plans not just for Kai, but for every public Trump family member, including detailed psychological profiles and scenarios designed to publicly humiliate or destabilize them. Morris claimed he was part of a small network of post-narrative disruptors, radicals who believed political dynasties were the death of democracy and had to be unmasked, not through assassination, but through public disintegration. Kai was to be the first, the symbol of untouchable legacy, as he called her. 3 days later, Kai appeared on television, refusing victimhood. "I will not live in fear," she declared. "If the price of leading my generation is invasion of my privacy, then let the cowards come forward. Because I'm not going anywhere." The country watched, spellbound. Republicans rallied behind her. Independents praised her courage. Even some critics in the media begrudgingly admitted she had shown strength few could fake. President Trump issued a statement, flanked by his granddaughter. She stood tall, while a coward tried to tear her down. America just saw what strength really looks like. Caleb Morris is now in federal custody. The rest of his network remains under investigation. Kai Trump has since become a symbol of resilience and youth leadership, appearing on multiple national programs and hinting at a future in public service. But even now, some questions remain unanswered. 1 Drone, labeled Drone 3, has never been recovered. It was last activated 2 weeks before the Tuxedo Ridge incident and had been airborne over Mar-a-Lago. No one knows what it captured. Or if someone else is still watching.